Hello students, welcome again to my another session. Myself Joshi Disha, and today we are going to take an example of short-term production. So let us begin with the example. As you all are seeing, we are having an image of an example. Please take a deep look over this example, over this image. So let us start. Suppose in 1 acre land, 10 units of capital are kept constant. Listen it thoroughly, dear students. Suppose in 1 acre land, 10 units of capital are kept constant and the units of labor are increased gradually. So we are keeping land as a constant factors, 10 units of capital as a constant factors, and the units of labor are increased gradually. We are changing the number of labors. Here, land and capital is a constant factor. There is no change in the proportion of land and capital. So, land and capital are constant factors. While labor is variable input or factor, means variable is input is variable. Variable means changeable. Labor is changeable. As the units of labor increase, after a certain limit, the law of diminishing returns becomes operative. As we are increasing the number of labors, after a certain limit, law of diminishing returns becomes operative. This fact can be seen in the table given below. So take a look over the table. Now I am going to explain the table. From the figures given above, it can be seen that if land and capital units are kept constant and only the units of labor are increased, the first phase total production increases. So here, as I stated above, we are keeping land as a constant factor, capital units as a constant factor, but we are changing the number of labors. We are increasing the number of labors. So what happens in the first phase? In the first phase, total production is increasing. Your labor unit goes up from 1 to 3, right? It is 1, 2 and 3. Marginal production also increases. At the same time, marginal production is also increasing. In other words, it can be said that total production increases at the increasing rates. Year average production also increases. So there are two words, that is marginal production and average production. Now what does marginal production means? Marginal production means change in output resulting from employing one more unit. Whenever we are adding one more input, then the change in the output is known as marginal production. And what is average production? Average production is useful for defining production capabilities at a specific level of input. That when we are including input at a specific level, then what are going to be the production capabilities? That is average production. So here marginal production, average production, total production, everything is increasing at an increasing rate. Firstly it was 10, then it became 24, that is the addition of 14 units. Then what happened? It is 48, means addition of 24 units. So this is called at an increasing rate. Now in second phase, labor units are raised from 4 to 6 units and increase in total production continues to grow. Now in the second phase, labor units are raised from 4, 5 and 6 and there is increase in total production, but there is decrease in marginal and average production. Now from the second phase, there is an end of increasing rate. In the second phase itself, total production is increasing, but at the same time marginal and average production is decreasing. In the third phase, 7 to 9 labor units are employed and the total production begins to diminish. Already in the second phase, it started decreasing, but total production was not decreasing. But now we can see the change in the third phase, that is total production is also decreasing. It begins to diminish, it begins to decrease. Here marginal production becomes zero and then becomes negative, and average production continues to decrease. Now what happens in the third phase? That total production is also decreasing. At the same time, marginal production is now becoming zero because it was already decreasing in the second phase. And then it becomes negative, and average production is also continuing to decrease. So, from the above mentioned trends of production, it can be said that from the second phase, the law of diminishing returns becomes operative. In the second phase itself, we can come to know that it is now decreasing at a decreasing rate. Therefore, after the end of second phase and before the third phase begins, far-sighted entrepreneur and manager will stop employing more units of variable inputs. So now this is a red signal, and now entrepreneurs are aware that now we cannot employ more number of laborers because now everything has started decreasing and marginal production has already become zero and it is going on a negative way. So these are the trends through which we can come to know that where we need to stop ourselves. So this was the example of short term production. Now you can see that it is a diagram of short term production. On the y-axis, it is total average and marginal production, and on the x-axis, it is units of a variable inputs. That is labor units, means we are increasing the rate of labor units. And you can see there are three phases, that is first phase, second phase and third phase. Now let me explain you this diagram. So in the figure given here, TP is total production line. As you can see the three lines mentioned over here, in that TP is total production line, AP is average production line and MP is a marginal production line. If we examine the figure, we can see that TP goes up during the first two phases. If take a look over the diagram, you must be knowing that if we examine the figure, we can see that TP, that is total production, goes up during the first two phases, as we had seen this in example. This means that production continues to increase till second phase that we had seen earlier. Then at seventh unit it becomes constant and then it goes downward. This suggests that total production begins to decrease. Now, MP line has a tendency to move upward in the first phase. After third unit, it takes a thin in marginal production decreases. This also we had studied earlier, that in the first phase it was increasing. Later on, in the third unit, it takes a thin in marginal production and it starts decreasing. At seventh unit in third phase, it becomes zero and therefore it crosses the base line and it started becoming zero, means negative, sorry. AP line goes up in the first phase, but at fourth it becomes constant and then moves downward. So this is the diagram, and it is showing total production, marginal production and average production as stated in the example. It is exactly showing the things in the diagram. Now let us take a look over the relationship between average and marginal production line. So what is the relationship between average and marginal production line? Statistical data and figure indicate that average production and marginal production move upward in the beginning, but MP is higher than AP in the beginning. That is first phase when 1, 2, 3 units are employed. As you can see this in the diagram as well and in the example as well. That statistical data and figure indicate that AP and MP are moving upwards in the beginning, but MP is higher than AP in the beginning. Another is When average production remains constant and there is no change in it, and average and marginal production becomes equal. At this point, AP and MP cross each other, that is at unit fourth of the labor, correct? So, AP and MP are constant and there is no change in it, and average and marginal production becomes equal. At this point, they are crossing each other, that is at the point number fourth unit of labor. And the third relationship is when average production decreases, marginal production also decreases. Means when AP is decreasing, MP is also decreasing, but MP decreases more than AP. It is decreasing more in comparison to AP. Both are decreasing, but MP is decreasing more than AP. Therefore, MP line is below AP line. So that is the reason that MP line is below AP line when 5 to 9 units of labor are employed. Why more returns in the beginning? Now we are going to study that why there are more returns in the beginning, that we had seen that there are increasing, TP is increasing, MP is increasing, AP is increasing, but why it is increasing in the beginning? What are the reasons? So let us take a look over it. The important trend of law of diminishing returns is that in the beginning up to certain limit, MP continues to increase. In other words, in the beginning the returns goes on increasing. Why does this happen? There are two reasons for this. In the beginning, as proportion of variable inputs is less, constant factors cannot be used fully in the process of production. Why this happens only in the beginning and later on it starts on decreasing? The reason is in the beginning the inputs are less. Variable inputs means changeable inputs that we are using is less. Factors of production cannot be used fully in the process of production. So we are gaining more returns. Therefore, as the proportion of inputs is increased, constant factors can be used in better manner. Thus, still constant factors are fully used, the variable inputs are used more, and therefore in the beginning production at increasing rate can be achieved. So this is the reason that we are achieving higher returns. So this is the reason that we are not using that much inputs at the initial stage, so we are achieving higher returns. Number 2, in the beginning the proportion of variable inputs is less in the beginning and their use cannot be made efficiently. But by and by the proportion of variable input increases and their use can be made more efficiently. As a result, in the field of production, division of labor and specialization becomes more effective. Therefore, there are more returns in the beginning. Now what they are saying, that is, firstly we were using less inputs in the beginning, so returns were increasing. The second point here stated is that we are using inputs, but later on we start using inputs at an efficient level, means optimum utilization of resources. Here we are doing it that we are having inputs, but at the same time we are using it perfectly so that we can achieve the targets, we can increase our returns. So these are the two reasons that we are gaining more returns in the beginning. Now, why do returns decrease after certain limit? What is the reason, or what are the reasons that we are facing these problems that our returns are decreasing after certain limit? When proportion of variable inputs is added to constant factors, factor combination achieves the optimum level at a certain point. After achieving this level, if proportion of variable inputs is increased, it becomes harmful rather than helpful. As I stated that firstly we were using less inputs, so we were getting more output. Now what is happening then? On second reason was that we are now using the resources, or we can say that inputs, at an optimum level, maximum level we are using it. So now what happens, that now if we use it more, then what it is doing with us, it is harmfuling us rather than helpful. Correct? It is like the famous proverb, too many cooks spoil the broth. Correct. When too many things are involved in one particular work, then it is definitely spoiling that particular work. Too many inputs are harmful for the production. As a result, the law of diminishing returns become operative. Here, such a situation arises that constant factors remain unchanged but only variable inputs are added. Therefore, they are not used in adequate proportion. As a result, after achieving optimum level at factor combination, even if the proportion of variable inputs is increased, there is no returns in proportion to the increase in inputs. Thus, total returns increase at a diminishing rate. This means that gradually the marginal returns goes on decreasing. So these are the reasons that already we had used it optimally, efficiently, but still we are using it, then definitely it is doing harm to us. Now what is the usefulness of the law? Means importance of the law. The production function showing production during the three phases is useful for the firms in taking decisions regarding quantity of production. As we know that we are doing all this because we want to know that what actually quantity we need to produce so that we can achieve maximum returns. If the production level is stopped in the first phase, it does not reach maximum level. The firm cannot achieve the level of maximum profit earning. If we stop our production in the first phase only, then we are not going to achieve it on a maximum level. So we need to go on towards the second phase. If the production is continued in the third phase, marginal production becomes negative and the total production decreases. If we goes on continuing and we move on towards the third phase, then what happens? Then MP becomes negative and total production also decreases. So it is an alarm. It is a signing symbol that when we need to stop ourselves so that we achieve higher returns and it does not harm our profit. In these circumstances, the firm's maximum profit would be curtailed. Therefore, it must take proper decisions regarding production in the second or the middle phase. In the second phase, total production reaches the optimum level, marginal production becomes zero, and so even if more units of labor are employed, there is no increase in production. So, in the second phase, how many units of labor will be employed depends on the wages paid to the laborers. One must have information regarding the optimum quantum of wages. When marginal revenue, productivity and rates of wages become equal, that number of laborers are employed in the process of production. Now we know that we are not going to stop in the first phase. We need to move on towards the second phase. But when to stop in the second phase, that is how many number of laborers that we need to employ. In that also we need to check the quantum of wages, that how many wages actually we need, so that we need to pay so that it gives us profit, it gives us maximum returns. So that marginal revenue, productivity and rates of wages become equal, that number of laborers are employed in the process of production. So this is the usefulness, or we can say the importance of the law, that is law of diminishing returns. So today I had completed the law of diminishing returns, and dear students, it is really very important topic. So please go through this video. Thank you dear students. See you in the next session.